Well, at the time, I think the intent was there to, that they thought they were doing the right thing. In retrospect, it's easy to judge in the past, but at the time, they really thought that they were doing the right thing. I'm saddened by the fact that it took so long for individuals to recognize that process wasn't working and it wasn't the right thing to do.
Were they trying to destroy the lives of Indigenous people and communities and their language and culture? Even if they thought it was the right thing, they thought they were doing the right thing, do you think they were trying to destroy and expunge the identities, the culture, the language of Indigenous people?
From my knowledge of it, the residential school system was designed to take Indigenous children and give them the skills and abilities they would need to fit into society as it moved forward. So,
do you think that was the policy? Do you think that was the intention of the federal government to do that? To just give them?
I am an honorary witness for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I listen to the stories of the survivors.
yes.
And I cannot accept you saying what you just said about residential schools. It was the express intent of residential schools to kill the Indian in the child. It is not cultural relativism, it is not revisionist history for us to say that that was wrong. Any right-minded person at the time should have known that it was wrong. Many did know and speak up against it. And if you are to take your job that you've been appointed to by Mr. Pallister seriously, starting today, you have to change that picture.
I look forward to working with you in the future as the leader of the opposition.
We'll give you a chance, but you can't be out here defending residential schools if you want to work with Indigenous communities. Killing the Indian in the child was wrong. That's what they talked about at the time when they were started, when they were run. We all know that that was wrong. So you have to move past that.
Okay, so what do you say to that? I mean, I'm sorry, but this is not a normal introduction to a minister.
Right.
Here the opposition shows up to tell you what he believes is what's what.
Yes.
I mean, we're at a climactic moment in our society here. How do you react to Mr. Kinew's interrupting your introduction?
It goes back to what I was saying about trying to get down to the truth as to different perspectives were held on both sides in history. And we, and you as reporters, need to do your jobs to get down and research as much as you can to find out what the truth was in those situations.
So
and that's part of my job.
What do you believe the truth was? Like these are softball questions.
Yeah.
What do you believe the truth is, sir?
Yeah.
You're the new minister.
With
These are
regard
softball
to
questions.
residential schools, what do you believe the truth is?
What do you think the truth is?
To assimilate Indigenous people into the non-Indigenous culture.
And was that an attempt to destroy their culture?
They didn't allow them to practice any of their cultural beliefs when they were in the Indigenous schools, which it's important that we recognize that happened and do what we can to bring that culture back and to teach that in our schools today. That we need to acknowledge what happened in the past and work together to move beyond that as a team.
Last one from Minister Lagimodiere.
Sorry, Mr. Minister, I'm still not clear on whether or not you support Premier Pallister's comments from last week. It's a yes or no. Do you agree with him? I'm just not. I still haven't heard that answer. It's a pretty simple one. I'm sure you must have been prepared for this question today. It's a yes or no.
I believe that he was trying to tell everybody that everybody that came to Canada was trying to work together for a better Canada. That's truly what he believes.
At anybody's expense? You think that was at anybody's expense? Build a better Canada for new Do you think?
Indigenous people did suffer because of what happened in the past. There's no doubt about that. And it's up to us now to acknowledge that and recognize that truth and say, what do we as Indigenous people now expect from a government moving forward, and how can we work together with that?
So what you're saying is that the media and Indigenous leadership and a significant number of Manitobans misunderstood Premier Pallister's comments. Is that correct?
Well, I often, I have an extensive background in education. And one of the problems that you have in education is you have a professor standing in front of you and he's giving you a lecture. Now, in order for me to understand that, I've got to encode what I think that professor is saying and put it into my mind. And then to answer a question on a test, I need to go back to that vault, decode it, and put it back into what I thought that individual was trying to say. And what I'm saying is it's important for everybody to try and understand all the aspects of the statements that are made. And if you don't understand, reach out to those individuals and say, I'm not really sure what you meant here.
So a significant number of people in Manitoba and the Indigenous leadership that have criticized Mr. Pallister's comments had to decode, as you said, what he said. But I still...
For themselves.
For themselves. And I still will return to my question. You believe that those people misunderstood his comments, correct? Yes or no? They misunderstood him?
From what he said today, yes.